right, good afternoon, ladies, and well, good morning, I
Morning.
guess.
We used to say afternoon
Good
or
evening.
evening.
Welcome to the pregame cheat sheet. I'm Darren Smith along with Steve Walls. We are here live inside the Arrowhead Stadium press box where the Chiefs will be hosting their division rival, the Denver Broncos, in just under an hour. Steve, kickoff, man. Your initial thoughts on this matchup? The Broncos come in. They got blown out last week. Pause by the Baltimore Ravens. I think it was 41-10. Coming to Arrowhead, of course. They have a much improved defense over what they had last year, but they got the worst end of it with Baltimore last week. Chiefs, of course, are looking to extend their franchise winning streak of 14 games to 15, and ninth straight win of the season if they can do so. 15 since the Christmas Day massacre last year against the
Massacre. That's
I
funny.
know, right? Las Vegas Raiders, because they haven't lost since. But your initial thoughts on this matchup today?
Man, I think it's going to be an interesting conversation between us today because I think you get this Denver Broncos team that's coming in here with, first of all, they have a winning record, but they still have nothing to lose, if that makes sense. They're coming in here
5-4 in the season
as the underdog, which they've done that the past few years. But they have this young quarterback who, to me, is kind of resembling of Drew Lock. To me, I think he's able to run the ball. I mean, he's able to run the ball. He can throw the ball as well.
In all fairness, yes, he can run the ball, and he's one of those quarterbacks that has a lot of experience starting because I think he started 5 years, essentially 5 because of the COVID year in college. So he's got, I think he had about 50 or 60 college football starts. So he's well versed. Obviously playing in the pro style system in college, getting drafted by by the Broncos and being under Sean Payton. So Sean Payton has found what he feels is his quarterback of the future.
Yeah, and he does this offense. They do some unorthodox things. I mean, when you think about him catching a touchdown pass last week, I mean, this is one of those games. He's a second
leading rusher too. A lot of people know he's a second leading rusher.
This is one of those games where you got to expect the unexpected with this team. I mean, you'll look at some things whether he's going to, they'll do a flea flicker, he lines up and then, catches a touchdown, goes out for a pass or runs the football. They're going to do some things that you don't normally see a quarterback do.
We didn't get a chance, at least I didn't get a chance to talk to the players this week during practice. I wanted to wait till after the game because post-game, depending on how this game goes, I want to talk to some of the defenders, some of the players on defense, and see what kind of, what Coach Spags, kind of coach them or guide them up on, told them what to look out for in today's game. So we'll see, what their response is and how the game plays. Now, I was letting them tell me everything because they do have to play them again at the end of the year. So we'll get a chance to see that. Look, speaking of Bo Nix, he totaled 261 yards on last week. 223 passing, 36 rushing, and again, he had not only one but 2 catches in last week's game. So this is going to be one of those games. It's going to be one of those games to watch. Fans are going to want to watch this in today's game, and for Chiefs fans who are interested, Kevin Harlan, Trent Green are going to be on the call today for the Chiefs.
It's always a good call.
Yeah, and as we talked about, he's the second leading rusher behind Javonte Williams, and Javonte has been a real strong, solid addition to this team.
You know what though? Denver always they just have good running backs. I mean, you go all the way back to Terrell Davis, and before that, right? Like they just always get a solid running back. The Chiefs have one from Denver, Samaje Perine. I mean, he was pretty solid when he was with Denver. Yeah.
Looking at it from, of course, Broncos come in 5-4. The Chiefs, of course, 8-0. They've already had their bye. The Broncos haven't had it yet. So you look into this game. This is the third time that the Chiefs have been 8-0. Now, they were 9-0 one time, and I remember I was in Denver. I think it was a Sunday. It was a Sunday night game where the Chiefs ended up losing their first game of the year against the Broncos. Now, this game is at home. We saw last week where, everything was going right for Kansas City essentially towards the latter half of the second game. The latter half of the second half, of course, when they came back and won in overtime over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we saw where DeAndre Hopkins in his first home game of the Kansas City Chiefs, wide receiver, 2 touchdowns. Of course, Kareem Hunt continued to extend his streak and scoring touchdowns for the Chiefs. And we saw Travis Kelce get a multitude of receptions. I think he had 14 catches for well over 100 yards in the game. So offensively, what are you expecting this Chiefs team to look like in today's game on short rest?
I think they're going to come out rolling like they did last week. I think you'll get a few less running plays from Kareem. I think you'll get more from Samaje Perine. And I've noticed that if it's a passing play, that puts Samaj in. And I don't know if because Kareem can catch the ball too, but they have Samaj out there just to he's a great blocking running back and he can catch the ball out in the flat as well. And
I do think that that's more so to give Kareem a blow.
Yeah,
Say
you have to.
Because once they get the first down, he comes back in and you got to get so. Yeah,
but I think it's more like you said, give him a blow. But you got a huge game next week against Buffalo, and I think the more rest that you can get him, kind of sparingly, and it's going to be a lot on Patrick today to make sure that this offense is rolling, so that way they don't have to work as hard. If that makes sense,
no, it makes a lot of sense because again, you see with some of the other teams, and at the current moment, I believe the Broncos might be in ninth place if they're not outside of the playoff picture right now. But again, you saw what Baltimore did last week.
Yep.
If you're Kansas City, you need to try to run the score. So like you said, you can kind of rest your players a little bit in the fourth quarter, especially someone like Kareem, and maybe even Travis. Again, depending on the distance and the score.
And you get Patrick too. That's like he hasn't played his best this season. We all know that. That's no secret. But I mean, you're getting. You go back. You look at Baltimore, where it's like, man, he has. I think Lamar Jackson has over 20 touchdowns on the season so far.
Yeah.
And it's like
I think he has as many touchdowns right now that he had last year when he won the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yeah. So you think about that. It's like, man, Patrick, you've got to, if and taking the personal things out of it, you've got to do something. If you want to continue to stay in this race. Now I know, and we said this in our group, read our group thread chat that Lamar is only as good as how many championships he's won, right?
Right.
So I mean, I know you can think about you can go for the MVP the regular season, but I'll go for Super Bowl MVP and the Super Bowl trophy in the ring.
So I had a question that was texted me. My guy Chad Johnson wants to talk about the Denver defense. We were going to get to that, but since we are talking about the offense, their defense, they lead the league in yards per play, which is tops in the league. How do you think Patrick and Andy are going to coach against that type of defense? Especially Manegi, because I did read a report that teams are looking at him, for a head coach position. That's a discussion for maybe the Red Eye or something like that. Yeah. But how do they confront this top, this top league?
I think it's gotten a lot easier for the Chiefs, considering DeAndre Hopkins is huge in the red zone, because you remember prior to DeAndre, they've had even going back to last year, they've had trouble. They get down at 20-yard and in, trying to score a touchdown. So I think DeAndre, with you talk about his catch radius, he's huge in the red zone. He's a big target. And then even in space, they've got to make a decision. Are you going to double Travis, or are you going to think about, trying to pick up G.E.H.A?
It's funny you say that because I'm thinking about it and thinking about Chad's question as it relates to the defense. If you're Kansas City, this should be a big game for Xavier Worthy. I said it because, again, with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins and what he's going to be able to bring, especially what he showed on Monday night. And, of course, you always got to respect what Travis does. And to an extent, even if you added Noah Gray, you want to do something like that. Your guy, Patrick Surtain, he can only guard one of these players. And
exactly.
I see him possibly being on DeAndre Hopkins, which should open up some things, hopefully.
PJ Locke's tough, too, but they'll have to bring him down. Because is Juju Smith-Schuster?
No, he's out.
He's out. Okay. Yeah, you have to bring PJ Locke down to. You're going to either double D-Hop, or you're going to have to pick up Travis, or get the deep route with Xavier Worthy. And you got McCole Hardman, who's played well the past few weeks.
He's played extremely well, which is, again, depending on what they do between the 20s, especially. And we've talked about Xavier is a little light in the backside, so he's gonna have to have his body control, and depending on how Patrick, if he underthrows him, overthrows him, Xavier's got to keep running, period.
Yeah.
So to give them a chance. Now, obviously, when you get down into the red zone, again, I still think that works more so, like you said, in the Chiefs' favor, because they just got so many weapons and so many designs and so many plays that they can run out of within that 20. And again, to be honest, I think we have seen the importance of Kareem Hunt because the Chiefs, normally if they get down there, between the 10 and the goal line, or even the 5 goal line, they would try to do something cute that would get them in trouble.
Used to.
You don't have to do that. Like literally, give the ball to Kareem, get the F out the way.
Yeah.
And you can try. If you want to, Patrick dumping something off to maybe a receiver cutting into the flats, or maybe Travis.
You've got a lot of options.
You got a lot of options, but first and foremost should always be Kareem Rush. I mean Kareem Hunt, simply because he's your workhorse and he has a nose for the end zone. So that's how I would match up against that defense. Now I do have another question that was asked by Chad. The field conditions. Now, I know that they worked late to the midnight hour last night, but the fact that they played on Monday, had KU play on here on Saturday, and the game was over at around 6:30, because college football takes forever, and then here they are turning around today. What do you think the field conditions is going to be for these teams?
I was thinking about that because I drove by here yesterday. I totally forgot that KU shares this field. I think it looks great. From here, it does.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be a question that, have to ask Andy post-game. Is like, how you feel like the field conditions were, considering you had 3 games here in the past 7 days.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously they weren't – because I was wondering what they were going to do for the KU game. If they were going to switch. They just know you're going to play on how the field is, because –
you have to.
Yeah. Trying to paint stuff over. Just no.
You've got. That would have gave them. They got other things to worry about, right? Like,
got their own stuff. Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos here at Arrowhead Stadium. Kickoff is at noon. Game was on CBS. Kevin Hall and Trent Green on the call. Steve Walls and of course myself, Darren Smith, with you here live in the Arrowhead press box. Bring you the pregame cheat sheets. Steve, let's look at defensively for the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones, George Carlisle, and the defense they've played well enough. They haven't yet to give up 28 points a game this season. They gave up 24 before, going into overtime before the team came back and got in overtime. And I kind of hate to go off of last week's game, but they scored 10 points. But how does this offense for the Broncos match up against this defense?
Man, I think Bo Nix is going to have a tough day. I really do. We look at Baltimore's defense, right? Baltimore's, and I watched them Thursday.
I think Devontae probably have a tougher day because starting running backs against the Chiefs don't normally have their average. I think he might have a tougher day. Hopefully he gets 25 yards.
I think the Chiefs defense is, I know they're much better than Baltimore's defense. So I think Bo Nix is going to have a really rough day, because we know Spags and you guys and me and Darren had to, kind of figure this out. They play like a little, they feel you out first. It's kind of cat and mouse at the beginning of the game. And then that's when they put you away. Once they figure out, this is what y'all doing? Oh, it's a wrap.
Which is why teams, most of the season, I think there's a couple of games that they hadn't done it, kind of scored in the first quarter or the opening drive, and then once the Chiefs, like you said, they kind of get an idea of what you're doing, kind of settle down, and then and then they go after it. And one of the things that I tell people about what is so, people ask me what's so special about this Chiefs defense, and for the life of me, it's literally been since day one when Spags got here. Because he installed it. I think the only player that's still here from that defense is Chris Jones from 2019.
2019, yes.
I think he's so everyone else, either as a free agent or drafted.
No. You've had Derek Nottie was here.
Okay. Derek Nottie.
Mike Pennell was here.
Have they been there all?
Yeah.
Man, we all get those.
But Mike Pennell, remember, he left that following season.
Okay. So, but look at those two players. But then everyone else that has either been drafted or come into free agency, this is all they know now. Especially when you look at the rookies, last 2-3 years with Trent McDuffie and those players, this is all they know. So you get to the first season, okay, I got an understanding of the playbook, and now Spags can always go back to it. They know it just by muscle memory, and then you can always add new stuff in the week. And then you do this for the last 2, 3, 4, since he's been here. What is it, going on 6 years now? This is, or 5 years now. This is. To me, this is obviously the best defense in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can put them up there. I mean, you think about just they've got to get more sacks. I think more turnover. They got to create more turnovers. I think to be the best defense, though, they get stops. Granted, where they get put their offense in good positions, but I feel like. And then don't get me wrong, they've won the Chiefs some games. I get that, but you've got to create more turnovers.
I'll give you the turnovers, but if they can put the offense in the second and long, third and long, at least and force them to punt to get the ball back. I'll give them a little bit of grace, but I do feel it is time to. But see, here's the thing: when teams are throwing when they're throwing against the Chiefs, a lot of times they end up throwing the ball out of bounds because they can't, because obviously if you throw it in the traffic, the Chiefs more than likely, as we saw the 49ers game,
Yeah.
I mean, you try to throw it like against that defense, they'll come back and get 3 interceptions against you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I still feel like, it's they're top two at least in the league. I just feel like you gotta make sure that that you've created some turnovers. Now I know Mike Dana didn't play last week.
Yeah, he is back.
So he'll be back today. That's a huge, and one person we didn't talk about was Joshua Uche.
Yes.
And I saw he was in on about 10 plays last week, and he's still trying to pick up things. But he was in the AFC, so he's played a lot of these teams before.
Yeah, and the good thing about that is, especially on defense side of football, what they do. I mean, the same thing with DeAndre Hopkins. They bring you along slow that first week, because obviously, because he had been playing all season, so it's not like he has to go to the practice squad and figure things out. No, you bring him in.
Yeah.
You give him the playbook. Okay, we're going to put you in on these downs, and basically we put you in, just go after the quarterback.
Yeah.
And so
see ball, get ball.
Yeah, and so now this week got a whole week of practice. We'll see a lot more. I think his best usage is going to be next week when we're in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's true.
That's because he's played him. I know he's played him once already. Mm-hmm. So so he'll get a chance to see a lot of action next week. And same with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he started last week. I think now he's like ingrained in the offense.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll see. So we'll see a lot of what the Chiefs are able to do. Just an update. We know that Juju is out for today. The clock should be ticking real soon, if not this week, on a 21-day thing as it relates to Isaiah Pacheco to try to get him back up and running. Hopefully, by Black Friday, if not the first game in December.
Carolina, I think that'd be a game that you can kind of ease him back in, if that makes sense. I mean, Carolina's defense isn't. Friday, yeah. I mean, they're subpar. So I mean, that's a game you want to try to kind of ease him back in.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. Kickoff is just a little bit about 40 minutes away. We'll be on for another 10 minutes. Steve, I've got to ask you your X factor for today's game. I'm not going to let you switch and try to have me start.
Offense first?
No. Defense first.
Defense? Okay, because I have one in my head.
I bet you did.
Man.
I'm
going to say Drew Tranquil. I'm going to say Drew Tranquil because
that didn't come across my mind. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say Drew Tranquil because we talked about Bo Nix at the beginning of the show, right?
Yeah.
I think Bo Nix is going to do. We talked about the unorthodox things and him being able to run the football. I think Drew Tranquil is that guy we talked about there, Joshua Uche, a see ball, get ball, right? So Drew Tranquil is going to have to, kind of be that spy quarterback. We don't see him out in space too much, so I feel like he's definitely got to be that guy. He's going to have his eyes on Bo Nix. So I think Drew Tranquil for defense.
I'm gonna go with Justin Reed, and only because again, if Bo Nix get past Tranquil, then that's where Justin Reed's gonna come to play. The last time these two teams played here, he had an interception as well. Now, granted, it was against Russell Wilson, but I want to see if we can get, especially kind of piggyback off of last week's game where he gave up a touchdown, late, early in the game on this side of the field where we sit at. I want to see how he bounces back and responds back.
Yeah, I like that.
To this week's game.
I like that.
Offensively, who you got?
Oh man, shoot, I'm gonna change it up.
Oh, hold on, no Patrick, no Travis.
No. I'm gonna go with the left tackles. I went to left tackle.
I could have sworn I
Juwan.
did tackles last week. So,
Did you?
Yeah, we went to tackles
Okay.
last
I
week.
didn't remember. But yeah, no, I think Juwan Taylor. There's been so much talk about how this offense is rolling, and so many people are like,
hold on. So you're going with just the right tackle or both tackles?
Both.
Go for it.
I think so much been talked about. Oh, well, we have a worry about just watching, and reading stuff about people. The offense is good, the defense is good, but we're worried about the tackles. Yeah. So I think Juwan Taylor has got to. This is a game that you don't have a superstar, at defensive end that you're going against. You don't have, a guy that you've got to worry about. That's earmarked on everybody's, game plan at the beginning of the week. So I think, both left and right tackles, they've got to make sure that they're on point.
Now, like I said, for me, the last few weeks, Juwan has been fine. Now, granted, you do worry about the false start, but I'm saying, but pressure-wise, giving up sacks, he hasn't done that. That's been more on the Wanye side. So to your point, especially on the left side, I'll be looking at the roster. Obviously, don't take anybody.
Now there was one in the red zone, I think, where people were trying to pinpoint, like, the false start, and they just didn't get called.
Was that overtime? I think that was overtime. I think that was the last play of the game.
Yeah. So I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like, we were still worried about Wanye and Juwan. So
okay, no, that's a good one. Okay, well, let's see. Who is mine?
Yeah.
Now you know what? I'm going back to what I said earlier. Xavier Worthy.
Okay. Oh yeah, I like that one
because he had to catch down here, but I think he was out of bounds. I think one of his feet were out of bounds, or it might have been a penalty.
Nope. His both feet. But he caught the ball out of bounds. He basically caught the ball out of bounds.
So, and he had no catches for the game, which I was still kind of surprising the way Patrick on the ball. But again, Travis had 14 of those catches.
You know what? His route tree, he hasn't figured. It's very similar to Tyreek. Like I was talking to someone earlier in the week, and he hasn't figured out. Like he has a straightaway speed. He doesn't have. How Tyreek could stop, and then his pickup was like really quick. So I think he's got to be able to figure that out. I mean, he has, because it's a different when you got that waggle and the fast twitch muscle.
Well, and it's funny because he and Tyreek both technically have track speed because they both ran track.
But Tyreek got just a different kind of
body. I think lower level to the ground, stuff like that. No, so again, for me, it's Xavier because I think that because of D-Hop, and look, these players know who D-Hop is. Yeah. So there's respected. So you're Sean Payton, you're going to respect. And I mean, look, and if you want a single cover D-Hop, that's fine. He'll eat all day. But again, if he's drawn double covered or at least a safety up high on that side, this is the type of game, as I mentioned earlier, that Xavier Worthy should be able to eat. And
how much do you play? How much you think they're gonna play too high? I mean, that's been if you look at the success rate of defenses on this Chiefs team back to when we talked about Tyreek Hill, they played it too high.
What I'd like to see though, I like to see the Chiefs kind of not like bring them across the middle, but maybe go 5 yards out and slant on the inside and catch one, have him catch one in an open field, in the middle of the field where he can kind of maybe do. Use the speed there instead of just straight away where you can kind of just like maybe bump them or, push them out of bounds or something like that. So again, for me, my X factor in today's game is because again, if there's a game where he has a chance to eat, this should be it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
All right. So final predictions for today's show.
I got the Chiefs. I said this earlier all week, a lot to a little, man. I think they've got to come out here. It's a nice day. It's supposed to be 65 degrees in November, noon game. You get it over with early, man. You can be sitting on your couch by 4 p.m.
All right. I've got the Chiefs winning this game. I think the first time they actually have a 2-touchdown type ball game. Okay. So I'm going 31-10. I think the Chiefs, put this game away, kind of rest their players late in the fourth quarter to get themselves ready for Buffalo. Steve, before we get out of here, you want to thank our sponsors?
Just thank you to my friends over at Dillers on the Rosa. Make sure you go check them out. The holidays are coming. So much that you can, purchase, pick up, whether it's for your lady, for your guy, need something for work, going out, for the kids. Make sure you go over there and check them out. That's Dillers located at Zona Rosa. All
right. And, of course, as always, I want to thank Todd White and Todd's Closers and Taylor Suits located on 20th and Broadway, along with the out at the War Parkway Mall. Get your family, especially men weddings, stuff like that. Going out there, tell him I sent you. He'll take good care of you. And of course, always Gates Barbecue, located at 5 locations. I know it's probably early, but even if you don't go now, go at halftime, or of course go post game. Get you a couple slabs. Try the Bernie Mac. If you the wings too. Oh, the wings, all the wings. I want to thank them as always for being a sponsor of the show. We will be back next week in Buffalo. We'll be doing it at 3:25 local time, which is 2:25 here, since the game is a late afternoon game on CBS. So for Steve Walls, I'm Darren Smith. Make sure you follow us on social media at Steve Walls KC, at Darren Smith NFL. And tomorrow for the Red Hour, Steve, give it to him.
Tomorrow we'll be at Elevation Grill in Raytown. Come hang out with us. So we're always a lot of fun. It's our first show back out in these streets, Darren.
Oh.
Yeah, man. So it's gonna be fun. Myself, Darren Smith, alongside Sean Tyler, also DJ Q. Come out, hang out with us, have some great food, drinks. We got some door prizes for you. We may even have a couple of special guests. So come out, hang out with us. Get there at 6:00. Showtime is 6:30 to 7:30. Come out and have some fun.
And we'll be back post game, Andy Reid press conference along with Patrick Mahomes, and then interviews with the players afterwards. So, Steve Walls, I'm Darren Smith. Thank you so very much. Go Chiefs.